have known the arms already. This is the next verse paragraph. I have known them all, arms that are braceleted and white and bare. He is thinking of holding her arm, but he does not have the courage. That's the irony running throughout the text, the poem. But in the lamplight, down with the light brown hair, it's perfumed from a dress that makes me so digress. So artificial perfume disturbs his thought, and he loses the sparkle of his dream of meeting and mating the women. Arms that lie along the table or wrap about a shawl, and should I then presume, and how should I? So he continues thinking, meditating. The poem has a moment of rich sexual responses, and as though not knowing what to do with them, they no sooner arise that they are diverted into the sideline of bracelet or an aside arm that are braceleted and white and bare. And the lamplight down with the light brown hair, the moment is wasted in imagined rejection. He's imagining she might say no. So he continues, having a reverie, an epiphany, or a dream of meeting this woman without ever taking a single step towards the direction. This is the second movement in the poem in a short transitional 70 to 74 line section in which he first considers a possible line of approach and also with two vivid picture of loneliness and adequacy. We find he is still alone. Shall I say I have gone at dusk through narrow street? He is meditating. He will cook up a story that he's gone through streets in the evening and watch the smoke that rises from the pipe. Again, example of sick thought. Of lonely man in short sleep. So this phrase brings out one of the key themes called loneliness. He is leaning out of the hotel window, watching the smoke rising. So his thoughts, they dissipate like the smoke. Leaning out of the window, I should have been a pair of rugged claws scuttling along across the floors of silent sea. So he's so tortured by his sick thought, especially the thoughts of lust, the carnal desire, that he wishes he should have been a creature, an insect working on the water, because he believed they are free from the instinctive pain of desire. So he doesn't want an animal life even, he wishes, and he compares himself to an insect scuttling upon the water. These violent images convey the extreme self-shattering consciousness. The eye that fixes you, pin you to the wall like an insect impaled to be seared in its death agony. So he compared, he is an insect which has been pinned against the wall when he is given bad name, when he is censured. So he is the example of such a tortured psyche. So if you become an introvert, you become a sickly, a diseased person. This is what Mr. Prufrock stands for. The poem at the character level is a study of dramatized self-consciousness. So he is representing the sick thought of a mind which is fuming with the disease of the modern life. We are made aware throughout the poem that this is not just a portrait of an individual sensibility, but that it's also a precise description of the sensibility of the whole age. In other words, Prufrock stands for the sick modern world or the modern era or the modern age. He's only a prototype to do. Section 3 discusses what he did not do and will not do and the reason for his inaction for that most Hamlet-like of offenses. Procrastination. Should I, after the tea and the cakes and ice, have the strength to force the movement towards crisis? He cannot drop the thought of realizing the movement. So he calculates the possibility if he could grab her and he could make the movement like the lover in his coy mistress. He lacks the courage and boldness of Andy Morgan's lover in the poem to his coy mistress to force the movement to crisis, which is a euphemism for mating love. And after noon the evening sleeps so peacefully smoothed by long finger. So his life is an animal like a cat or dog life. But he's thinking in his dream the woman is caressing his head and running her hand through his hair, but it's only a dream. Stretched out on the floor here beside you, and should I, after tea and cakes and ice, have the strength to force the moment to cry? Rich sexual connotations are there in the line. The closing line presents a moment of dream fulfillment, a wish fulfillment. The question marks reflects his own fear or hesitation, like asking such an overwhelming question is not capable of realizing the moment. Both personal, social or spiritual. So we continue with the text representing his sick psyche. But though I have wept and fasted, wept and prayed, though I have seen my head grown slightly bald, brought on a platter, I'm no prophet and any no great matter. Because of his baldness, he compares himself to John the Baptist, whose head was chopped and brought on a big plate called platter. Because he denied the love of women for the love of God. But Prufrock has no such spiritual ambition. And no romantic ambition, no spiritual ambition, no heroic ambition. He denies I'm not a prophet. And with no great significance in his life. I have seen the moment of my greatest flicker. He has lost the spark of life. And I have seen the eternal footman hold my coat and snicker. So this eternal footman is the conductor called death. Life is compared to a wagon. Poem was written in 1920, the time of horse wagon. So life is seen a journey on a wagon, and the footman means death will give you a call the moment comes for the life, the moment comes for man to leave the platform of life. Though I have seen my head grown slightly bald, brought in upon a platter, I'm no prophet. And I have seen the moment of my greatest flicker, and I have seen the eternal footman hold my coat and snicker. In short, I was afraid. John the Baptist his head was separated from his body. A death's head is completely bald, and Prufrock will one day be completely bald, or if one takes his insipid baldness as a symbol of spiritual death, There is no spiritual ambition in his life. The trivial self-consciousness, fear of contempt is universalized into the internal footman and maker. So he is conscious of that mortality, transience of life. In section 4, so we have already talked about 3 sections, this is the 4th section. In the section 4, he gives a dramatic version of himself which leads him to a meditation upon a lost possibility. The form of a verb phrase would it have been described this possibility. He is coming to accept that he is a worthless person. He cannot find any purposeful, meaningful life. So now he calculates if he would have used his life. In short, I was afraid, and would it have been worth after all? Look at the change of tense would have been. After the cup, the mermaid, the tea, among the porcelain, among smoke, talk of you and me would have been worthwhile to have bitten off the matter with a smile and to have squeezed the universe into a ball. The phrase you squeeze into a ball again comes from a new Marcus Jones coin history. The lovers believe in the poem that the women will give her sweetness and the man his physical strength, and they will play the love game. But Rousseau is a dreamer. He cannot resolve the moment into such a crisis. He cannot achieve such a fulfillment in his social life or spiritual life. To say Lazarus come from the dead, so asking such a question from this timid person is comparable to Lazarus, a character who comes from the land of the dead. So he lacks such courage. If one settling a pillow by her head should say, this is not what I mean at all, that is not it at all. So all the time he is overawed by the rejection from the women. She might say, this is not what I mean, I don't love you. And would it have been worth it all after the cup, the marmalade? But he continued working on the reverie in the day, among the porcelain, among the smoke, talk of you and me, petty, mundane life. He is so overawed by social rejection that even in his thought he feels to squeeze the moment or universe into the ball would demand an effort like Lazarus coming from the land of death. Rousseau's reference to Lazarus, which immediately follows the overwhelming question, is not derived directly from Gospel or Bible, in which there are 2 Lazarus stories, but from a key scene and Dostoevsky crime and punishment. So this is the source of this image, the image of Lazarus. So asking a forceful question or proposing the women is as difficult for Mr. Rousseau as coming from the land of dead. Rousseau was thinking once more how it might have been if he had attempted to establish intimacy. And would it have been worthwhile after all? Would it have been worthwhile after the sunset, the road, yard, the sprinkled seat, after the knowledge, after the teacup, after the skirt, the trail around the floor, and this and so much more. So his thoughts rumble on. And on, it's impossible to say just what I mean. A man who could not resolve into some meaningful, purposeful quotation, how will he achieve or translate his thought into action? But as if a magic lantern through the nerve in the pattern on a screen would it have been worthwhile. But he cannot avoid the dream. So he's thinking he's having some intimate moment with the women. If one settling a pillow or throwing off a shawl and turning over the window should say, this is not what I need, this is not what I need. But even in the dreams he is scared of rejection. The modern world has involved people in the mundane everyday concern of life and made them observer rather than the participants in life. Adventure, Prufrock is a symbol of over-scrupulous timidity, confusion and shyness and nothing more. He indulges in a dream to see the nerve patterns of the screen, but in real life, he is scared of the snub from the women who might reject and say, there is a big gap between you and me and I don't love you. Here he discusses what he did not do and will not do and the reason for his inaction, that most Hamlet-like of offences called procrastination. No, I'm not Prince Hamlet. So he cannot compare himself to the prince because he doesn't have the courage to play the prince of his own story. He doesn't have the dignity or self-respect. Nor was meant to be. I'm an attendant lord, so he takes a lower position. He will play a lord and assistant who was helping his father and Hamlet in some way. One that will do to swell a progress, start a scene or to advise the prince. No doubt an easy tool. So the name of this character is Polonius from Hamlet, who was an attendant lord, an officer in Hamlet's father's kingdom. But he denies even that truth. He continues, he will play a fool. This play does not have any fool, but it's a continuation of Polonius' image. So he becomes a fool or a tool. The play on the rhyme, differential, glad to be used, political, cautious and meticulous. And that's the image of the modern man. He is political, cautious, meticulous, he is everything. But he cannot translate his thoughts into action. Full of high sentence but obtuse is difficult to understand. At times the reader almost ridiculous, almost times the fool. I grow old. Now he has dropped the idea of making a proposal because he thinks there is a yawning gap between him and the person he loves. I shall wear the bottoms of my trousers old, so he will play now a fashionable dandy. He will take a walking stick like an old person and walk along the beach. This is the last thought. So Prufrock knows that if he corresponds to any character in Hamlet, it is not the sententious, empty old Polonius, the advisor, and the fool is a continuation of Polonius' image. In some critics' view, Prufrock has no romantic ideal left. Now, as he feels he is old enough to propose to the women, so he will play a fashionable person, a fashionable dandy. He has a deep and abiding sense of his own unworthiness and does not feel he is ever fit to play the prince in the story of his own personal life. So he has lost the dignity. He cannot play the prince, a protagonist in his own life. So the hair image is brought back again in the vision, the last vision of mermaid, combing the white hair of the wave blown back in line 127. There are 132 or 5 odd lines in the poem, so we are coming now to closing stanza of the voice paragraph. Shall I part my hair behind? Even the old age, he wants to express his desire for a fashionable dandy. Do I dare to eat the peach? I shall wear white flannel trouser and walk along the beach. So he is now conscious of his twilight time. because he is a middle-aged person who has given up his resolve completely to see the women, and he has decided he is going to play a fashionable dandy. We have lingered in the chambers of the sea, so from personal dilemma he is going to generalize that he is the man who represents the whole modernity, the social society. By seagull we read with sea, be it red and brown, till human voices wakes us and we drown. The closing line is an important statement. He was busy daydreaming, but he is brought back to the self-consciousness from his dream by some voices from outside. He was having a dream again of some bathing girls in the ocean, in the sea, and he thinks they are fairy, but they do not have any time for attention to this old man. Rousseau turned to contemplate the twilight existence that such a man as he may look forward to. More of the teeth, the white flannel trouser, de rigueur for resort wear, the thinning hair, the care of digestion, because peats were indigestible, to be eaten with caution. But love is not for him. He knows its lure at a distance only, and with his back turned for the moment are riding seaward. Below, in the chamber of the silent sea, he may still dream of the seagull wreathing him, but they are dreams only. The reality of human relationship cannot stand in his way, cannot be realized by Rousseau. Human voices wake us and we drown. By directing attention towards the disparity that exists between the world of Rousseau and the world of traditional Western value, T.S. emphasizes not only a sense of profound loss, but also a realization of what it is exactly that the modern society or modern man has lost. But detaching, or by detachment, irony and ability of tone, by sliding away as his image do slide from precision to generalization, image established something called cultural excellence. So we close the poem, the discussion, and we'll continue with the debate. Thank you.